Fluent Podcasts, podcasts he never had before.
Welcome to Fluent Podcast. Today's episode is special. We're diving into the journey from basics to brilliant English.
Absolutely, Alex. I think every learner dreams of speaking English confidently, but most don't know how to structure their learning. Today, we'll guide them step by step.
Right. Learning English isn't about luck or talent. It's about a clear plan and consistency. So let's start with strategy 1. Create a personalized, weakness-focused study plan.
I love this one because it puts the learner in control. You're not following random advice. You're designing your own roadmap.
Exactly. The first thing every learner needs to do is define their goal. Why are you learning English? Is it for a job, higher studies, or communication after moving abroad?
That's right. Your why gives direction to your how. If your reason is strong, you'll stay consistent even when motivation fades.
Then comes identifying your strengths and weaknesses. There are 7 main skills: reading, writing, speaking, listening, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation.
Here's a fun way to test yourself. Rate each skill from 1 to 7. 1 means it's your best area, 7 means your weakest. The bigger the number, the more time you'll dedicate to that skill.
So, for example, if speaking is your weakest and you mark it 7, you'll practice it 7 days a week. But if writing is 1, maybe once a week is enough.
That's such a simple but powerful trick. It prevents you from wasting time repeating things you're already good at.
Yes, and then you structure your daily time. If you have 1 hour to study 4 skills, divide it equally, 15 minutes each. That's a balanced, smart approach.
I always say a plan gives confidence. Even 15 focused minutes daily can change your English within months. Consistency beats marathon studying.
Exactly. Language learning isn't a sprint. It's a marathon of small, smart steps.
So, strategy 1 is about clarity and direction. Without that, you're just floating through materials without purpose.
Well said. Now, let's jump into strategy 2. Prioritize output to build fluency and manage fear.
Oh, yes, one of my favorite topics. Most learners focus too much on input, reading and listening, but forget the most powerful part, output.
True. Input helps you understand English, but output builds fluency. Think of it like this. You can't learn to swim by watching videos. You must get in the water.
Exactly. In English, getting in the water means speaking and writing regularly. Even if you're shy, start with yourself. Talk out loud when you're alone.
Yes, I used to do that too in learning Italian. I talk about my day in Italian while cooking or driving. It helps connect thinking to speaking.
That's what I tell my students. Make English part of your everyday thoughts. Describe what you're doing. I'm making tea. I'm opening the window. It trains fluency naturally.
And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Fluency grows when you focus on communication, not perfection.
I agree. Many people fear embarrassment, but native speakers don't expect perfection. They respect effort.
Exactly. Another tip, keep a 70 to 30 balance between input and output. For example, if you study an hour, spend 40 minutes reading or listening and 20 minutes speaking or writing.
That ratio keeps your brain active. Too much input without speaking causes passive understanding. You understand but can't respond quickly.
Right. Now let's talk about writing. Writing helps organize thoughts and practice grammar, but make it real. Emails, notes, reviews, not textbook exercises.
Yes, write about your life. For instance, today I learned 5 new words, or review a movie you watched. That's authentic writing.
And if writing feels hard, start small, 1 paragraph daily. Over time, your vocabulary and grammar improve naturally.
Exactly. And remember, no one writes perfectly on the first try. Even native speakers edit their work.
So strategy 2 is simple. Speak daily, write weekly, and fear nothing.
Beautifully summarized. And that leads us perfectly to strategy 3, move from learner resources to authentic content.
This is a big step. The moment you stop sounding like a student and start sounding like a real communicator.
Yes, beginners rely on learner-friendly books or channels, which is fine at first, but staying there too long limits growth.
Absolutely. If you've reached a B1 or B2 level, it's time to move beyond English for learners. You need authentic content made for native speakers.
Exactly, like Time Magazine, National Geographic, or The Economist. These materials expose you to real vocabulary, idioms, and sentence flow.
And if you're more into videos, watch TED Talks. They cover diverse topics with natural accents and academic vocabulary.
That's right. And for listening practice, movies and podcasts are gold mines. Choose topics you love so learning never feels boring.
Yes, motivation increases when you enjoy the material. I recommend active listening. Choose a short clip, maybe 5 minutes long. Take notes on the main ideas, then summarize it aloud.
That's an excellent technique. It trains comprehension and speaking simultaneously.
Another great habit is reading something difficult daily, even a few sentences. Challenge grows comfort.
Exactly. The brain learns best when slightly challenged. Not too easy, not too hard.
So to summarize part 1 of our journey, make your plan, speak daily, and start exploring real-world English.
Right. Because learning English isn't just about grammar rules. It's about connecting with the world through language. So now that we've explored structure, output, and authentic content, it's time to move on to something that every learner struggles with, vocabulary.
Oh yes, vocabulary. This is where many learners feel stuck. They keep learning new words, but somehow they forget them quickly or don't know how to use them naturally.
Exactly. And that's why strategy 4, acquire vocabulary and context, focusing on phrases, is so powerful.
I completely agree. Memorizing long word lists may feel productive, but it's actually the slowest way to learn. Words need context, real examples that show how they fit together.
Right. That's what we call collocations. And when you master them, your English instantly sounds smoother and more fluent.
Advanced learners often know between 5,000 to 6,000 words, but most of those are phrases and combinations, not isolated words.
That's why I always tell my students, don't collect words, collect sentences, because sentences carry emotion, structure, and rhythm.
Exactly. One great tool is keeping a word diary. Every time you learn a new phrase, write it down with an example sentence.
And don't forget to review it regularly, especially before bed. Studies show your brain consolidates new information during sleep.
That's so true. And here's another trick. Pick a short video or podcast clip, maybe 5 minutes long. Listen with subtitles first. Then pick 3 or 4 new phrases that stand out.
Then look them up, note their meanings, and see how they're used in the full sentence. Finally, try using them in your own writing or speech. That's how you transfer vocabulary from passive to active memory.
Exactly. Let's say you learn the phrase, come to think of it. You could write, come to think of it, I forgot to call my friend. That's real usage, not memorization.
And you'll be surprised how often you start hearing the same phrases again. When the brain recognizes repetition, it starts locking in the knowledge.
Yes, that's how fluency forms, not through memorizing, but through pattern recognition.
You know, Alex, I sometimes tell my students to use color coding, highlight verbs in one color, nouns in another, and phrases in a third. It helps visualize the structure of English.
That's a great idea, especially for visual learners. Everyone learns differently, some through listening, some through seeing, some through writing.
Exactly. So combining all learning styles, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, gives a deeper understanding of how words truly function in sentences.
I like to remind learners that vocabulary is not about quantity, but connection. If you can connect words emotionally or visually, you'll never forget them.
That's why movies and songs are such powerful teachers. They make you feel the words, not just read them.
Perfect point. For instance, if you learn heartbroken from a sad song, you'll always remember it because emotion angers memory.
Exactly. And that emotional link is what turns language from a subject into a living experience.
So the golden rule, learn fewer words, but learn them deeper. Know how to use them, not just what they mean.
Couldn't agree more. And now that we've tackled vocabulary, let's move into something equally important, pronunciation and grammar nuances.
Ah, yes, the final piece of the fluency puzzle. Strategy 5, master pronunciation and grammatical nuances.
This is where learners truly transform because pronunciation and grammar together define clarity and credibility.
Exactly. You can know thousands of words, but if your pronunciation is unclear, people might misunderstand you.
Right. And pronunciation isn't about accent. It's about clarity. You don't need a British or American accent. You just need to be easily understood.
Perfectly said. One method I absolutely love is called shadowing. You listen to a native speaker and repeat instantly, matching their tone, rhythm, and emotion.
Yes, it's almost like singing along. You mimic the way they speak, the pauses, and even the melody of the sentence.
That's true. And it's not just pronunciation. Shadowing improves listening skills too. You start catching small sound differences like ship versus sheep.
Exactly. And for those learning alone, there's so many free tools. YouTube videos, podcasts, even Google Translate has a listen button for hearing pronunciation.
Here's a useful mini routine. Pick a short clip, maybe 2 minutes long. First, listen without subtitles, then again with subtitles, then one more time while reading along.
That's the listen and repeat technique. It connects your ears, eyes, and mouth at the same time. Over time, your pronunciation and listening start improving together.
And don't forget to record yourself. Hearing your own voice helps identify mistakes that you can't notice while speaking.
True. I remember doing that as a student and thinking, do I really sound like that? But over time, you start loving the improvement.
Same here. At first, it's strange, but later, it's satisfying. It's like watching yourself grow day by day.
Yes, and that growth leads naturally into grammar, which is another area people often overcomplicate.
Totally agree. Grammar should not be memorized like a list of rules. It should be practiced in context.
Exactly. Let's say you're learning the present perfect tense. Instead of just repeating, I have eaten, write sentences about your real life, like, I've lived in New York for 2 years.
Yes, those personal connections make grammar natural. It's not just theory anymore, it's part of your daily thinking.
I always tell my learners to write 10 real sentences for each grammar rule. Use them in conversations, in messages, in your notebook. That repetition builds muscle memory.
And when you reach an advanced level, start focusing on nuances, things like inversion or mixed conditionals.
For example, instead of saying, if I had known, I would have gone, you can also say, had I known, I would have gone. That's more natural in formal speech.
Yes, and it shows language sophistication. But one of my favorite aspects is spoken grammar, how natives simplify structure in everyday conversation.
Oh, yes, like saying gonna instead of going to, or ready yet instead of are you ready yet? That's how people really talk.
And learning these forms doesn't make your English less formal. It makes it authentic. It's how we naturally adopt our language to fit the context.
Exactly. So grammar isn't about perfection, it's about adaptation. Use the rules when needed, but also learn when to relax them.
That's a beautiful way to say it. English is flexible. It bends with context, emotion, and situation.
And once you understand that flexibility, you stop fearing grammar. It becomes your friend.
Exactly. You stop thinking, am I right? And start asking, does it sound natural? That's the mindset of a fluent speaker.
Yes, and that shift from accuracy to naturalness is what separates learners from speakers.
Brilliant point. So by this stage, our listeners should be combining all 5 strategies: structure, output, authentic content, vocabulary in context, and pronunciation plus grammar.
And when all these come together, you stop studying English and start living in English.
I loved that phrase, Maya, living in English, because that's what fluency really means.
Exactly. When English becomes part of your habits, thoughts, and lifestyle, you've made it.
You know, Maya, what I love most about language learning is that once English becomes a habit, progress never really stops. You just keep refining.
Yes, it's like a snowball. The more you use it, the more it grows. And suddenly you realize you're thinking and even dreaming in English.
Exactly. And that's the moment every learner should aim for, when English stops feeling like a foreign language and becomes a natural part of who you are.
And reaching that level isn't magic. It's the result of small daily actions. Reading a few pages, listening to a podcast, writing a short reflection. Every bit counts.
Right. Many learners underestimate those tiny efforts. They think only big study sessions matter. But language learning is a game of consistency, not exhaustion.
I always say 20 minutes daily beats 2 hours once a week. Your brain learns through repetition, not exhaustion.
So true. And let's talk about something that often goes unnoticed. Mindset. Your mindset determines how far you'll go in learning any language.
Absolutely. Many learners sabotage themselves by saying things like, my English is bad, or I can't speak. But those words become self-fulfilling.
Right. Instead of saying, I can't, say, I'm learning. Every time you practice, even for 5 minutes, you're improving.
Exactly. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build. You become confident by doing.
And remember, comparison is a trap. Don't compare your English with someone who's been learning for 10 years. Compare yourself to who you were 3 months ago.
I love that. Progress isn't about being perfect. It's about being better than yesterday.
Speaking of progress, learners often ask me, Alex, how do I know if I'm really improving? What would you tell them?
Good question. I'd say measure your progress through performance, not perfection. Can you understand a new accent? Can you watch a movie without subtitles? Can you express emotions more clearly? That's progress.
Exactly. Even something simple like ordering coffee in English or writing an email confidently shows real growth.
Yes, and people should celebrate those victories. Too many learners ignore their small wins, but those little wins are what keep the journey alive.
That's so true. I remember when I could finally understand English news without pausing. It felt like a miracle, but it was really months of quiet effort paying off.
Every learner has that wow moment. Maybe the first time someone says, wow, your English sounds natural. That validation feels amazing.
It does, but I always remind my students, fluency isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. You never stop learning because language never stops evolving.
Exactly. Even native speakers keep learning new expressions and slang. So being fluent doesn't mean knowing everything. It means communicating comfortably.
Beautifully put. And speaking of comfort, let's discuss how to maintain fluency once you reach it, because many learners reach intermediate or advanced levels and then plateau.
Yes, the plateau stage can be frustrating, but the secret is variety. Keep challenging yourself with new types of English, books, debates, documentaries, even comedy shows.
That's great advice. Comedy is especially powerful. It teaches rhythm, timing, and cultural nuance.
True, and reading fiction also helps. Novels teach storytelling language, emotions, and idioms that academic books don't.
I also recommend journaling in English every night. Just 5 sentences about your day. It keeps your mind active and trains thinking directly in English.
That's a great daily habit. Plus, journaling helps reduce anxiety. You express your thoughts, reflect, and practice writing at the same time.
You know, Maya, many learners think advanced English is just about using big words, but it's really about precision.
Exactly. It's not about showing off vocabulary. It's about choosing the right word for the right situation. That's what makes speech elegant.
For example, instead of saying very good, you might say excellent or impressive. But you don't need to sound like a dictionary. You just need to sound clear.
Right. Naturalness over decoration. Communication always wins over decoration.
That's why I tell learners, be proud of simple sentences that express your thoughts clearly. Clarity is confidence.
That's such a powerful line, Alex. Clarity is confidence. I think that could be the motto of this entire episode.
Maybe it should be. But seriously, English isn't about perfection, it's about connection. When you focus on expressing ideas rather than avoiding mistakes, everything changes.
I agree. When you communicate freely, your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation all improve naturally. It's a cycle of growth.
Exactly. And here's something I often notice. People who learn English effectively have one thing in common. They make it part of their identity.
Yes, they read English articles in the morning, listen to English music in the car, watch English shows at night. It becomes part of their world.
Right. And once you build that environment, your brain stops translating. It starts thinking in English.
That's the breakthrough moment. When translation disappears, you start forming ideas directly in English sentences.
And that's when confidence soars. You stop doubting every word and start flowing naturally.
It's like your brain says, relax, I've got this. And that's what fluency feels like, ease and flow.
Speaking of flow, we've covered a lot today. 5 core strategies, daily habits, mindset, and long-term consistency.
Yes, and I hope every listener remembers fluency is not built overnight. It's built moment by moment, word by word.
Exactly. The steps may feel small, but together they form something extraordinary.
So true. Every minute you read, listen, or speak in English is a brick in your foundation of fluency.
And one day when you look back, you'll realize you've built something incredible, a skill that opens doors to the entire world.
That's the beauty of language. It's more than grammar and words. It's connection, confidence, and new possibilities.
Absolutely. English connects people, cultures, and dreams. Whether you're learning for a job, travel, or self-growth, it's worth every effort.
Yes, and to all our listeners, remember, your journey matters. Don't rush it. Enjoy every mistake, every laugh, and every aha moment.
Exactly. Because every small step you take today brings you closer to your brilliant self tomorrow.
I couldn't have said it better, Alex. So, to summarize our journey from basics to brilliance,
Go for it, Maya.
first, create a personalized plan. Focus on your weak areas. Second, prioritize output. Speak and write regularly. Third, move toward authentic content. Fourth, build vocabulary in context. And fifth, master pronunciation and grammar naturally.
Perfect summary. And add to that, believe in yourself and never stop learning.
Exactly. Because English isn't just a language, it's a lifelong companion on your personal and professional journey.
So, to everyone listening, keep going. Even on the tough days, you're improving more than you think.
Yes, and if you ever feel discouraged, re-listen to this episode. Let it remind you that progress takes patience and passion.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's special episode, From Basics to Brilliant English.
What a journey it's been. I hope our listeners leave with a clear plan and the confidence to take their English to the next level.
Definitely. And to everyone tuning in, remember to share this episode, follow our channel, and keep learning with us.
Because together, we can all go from basic.
To brilliant.
That's right. Thank you all for listening. And as always, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep shining.
This is Alex,
And this is Maya.
signing off from Fluent Minds. See you in the next episode, everyone.
Goodbye and happy learning.